Welcome to Landlord Diaries, where we talk about midterm rentals and the opportunities behind them. We'll share landlord stories, talk about maximizing investment potential, and discuss how to live the very best landlord life. This podcast is proudly brought to you by Furnished Finder, the place for everything midterm rentals. Remember to like and subscribe if you enjoy our content.
Hello, everyone. I get to introduce first today. I am Katie Lyon. I'm on the marketing team here at Furnished Finder, and I'm also the proud co-host of this podcast. I have been in real estate investing for a few years now. We're growing our portfolio and expanding more and more into midterm rentals, and it's just so awesome to get to talk with all sorts of different landlords and explore this world. And I'm here with Kelly.
Hey guys, Kelly Bailey, your host of the Landlord Diaries in the Austin, Texas area. So this episode is a little different. Dave and I are headed out, as you know from some of the other episodes, to Colorado. And I just wanted to document that process where we submitted our own housing request through our traveler account. And we waited to see who had a place available for us, and our dates were flexible. And it came down to a choice of two wonderful spots. And so this is one of the spots in Park City, Utah. And then the one that we ended up going ahead and choosing is in Keystone, Colorado. So have fun, enjoy just getting to know the hosts on Furnished Finder, and hey, you never know when you might end up in a Furnished Finder rental as well. And we are back. We're going to do things a little differently today and put a new spin on things to highlight a vacation destination spot for this upcoming ski season. Ed Clancy is a midterm short-term host in Park City, Utah. His luxurious condo is sure to please with endless amenities, local favorites at your doorstep, and one of Park City's ski lifts right out the front door as well. Hello, Ed. Thanks for being with us. How are you today?
I am fantastic and happy to talk about Park City and other great ski destinations.
Yes, sir. I have had a couple conversations with Ed, and every time I talk to him, he is just so genuine and just really cares about people and the relationships behind the business. So we're going to jump in with our first question, which is, okay, this is about vacation destination. So tell us, what is your spot like? Why should someone come stay with you? And maybe landlords like myself will be intrigued as well.
Well, it's definitely to have the best experience as you're visiting Park City. You know, it's an amazing place, widely known for its Sundance Film Festival and Old Town vibe where you can walk around. But at the same time, locally distilled whiskey and just being at the foot of the mountain and feeling and smelling that fresh air and that vibe of being in the great outdoors. Park City very much is part of the mountain that we should be grateful and thankful for. And that's what we're able to do by staying there, or opening up our home and our condo to guests.
Awesome. And I think you're not in the main section of Park City. It's like a cool extra neighborhood, right? So what's the neighborhood like?
For sure. And I'm using Park City as a general term, the Old Town area, while at the same time where we're at the Canyons Resort, which is the newest complex in the area, or newest road, street. You know, a couple of years ago, you would have been able to name the street yourself if you're a developer. I would have called it Furnished Finder Way, maybe. But getting off the main highway from Salt Lake or Wyoming, heading down the main road, heading to Park City proper is Canyons, which is about halfway through. The beauty of it is that there's running, walking, hiking trails alongside the road. So just outside of your own complex, you can walk everywhere, walk to shopping, dining, and get to other destinations within the respective communities. But where we are is we're halfway between the main highway, the Utah highway, and Park City Old Town at Canyons Resort that has lift service, a outdoor concert venue, restaurants, other hotels, newer hotels or establishments that are being built, homes in that space, and again, in the golf course close by. So essentially, you've got all the amenities in one space, particularly our building that I'm very biased about, that the spa, the pool, the gym, the game room where you can play pool or Pac-Man or skee ball, the outdoor deck with the flames and just watching looking at the Uinta Mountains of Utah. It's pretty cool.
It definitely intrigued me, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So Ed, before we get into the details about your properties and how you run all your rentals, I'd love to hear, because Kelly has mentioned that you have a very unique and impactful nonprofit. I'd love to hear a little bit about that, how you got started, what your mission is, and what you do with that.
Sure. Well, thank you. And this is going to take about another hour, so just bear with me. It's like talking about your firstborn, but it's something that I'm very proud of. It's defining socially conscious transportation, meaning that my not-for-profit puts electric bikes with individuals who depend on public transportation, rides, or other means to get to their daily activities. And so I've provide e-bikes to those individuals over a 2-year term so they can increase their socioeconomic possibilities, get outside of their respective area for better goods and services, but also meet obligations in the workplace, school, etc., by having reliable transportation so that they have that sense of ownership, sense of worth, sense of accomplishment, ability, etc. And the program also reduces stress because of the physical activity, the mental, physical, and environmental health improvements that come by way of using an electric bike and the tangibles there. And with 400 e-bikes distributed, with another 125 to be distributed in San Diego County, something that, again, I'm very proud of, and we're seeing that how this is defining socially conscious transportation.
I went to Ed's website. It's pedalahead.org. And on the website, there are bios for each of these individuals that you can follow that have chosen to get involved in the e-bike program. And at the end of the 2-year program, if they've stayed consistent with certain goals, then the bike is actually theirs to own at the end, right, Ed?
That's correct. And yeah, so for clarity, it's pedalaheadsd.org is the main website. And, this very much plays into having a place in the mountains, that outdoor activity and that appreciation for things that we see at a low rate of speed. Because whether it's in San Diego or Texas or Colorado, wherever it may be, if you're zooming by a car at 30, 40 miles an hour, you really don't get that sense of smell, touch, feeling, and the environment that you're in. And it's why I love Utah, because the second that you come into town and you pull up to the mountains, you know exactly where you are and what to expect in nature, and just that sense of relief and calm, and it's a great experience to be where we are in the mountains and with the electric bike program.
Awesome. So normally when you're starting a nonprofit, it's for some reason you have a heart behind that really spurheads the initiative. So tell us what led you to start Pedal Ahead, and what's as part of your journey.
Sure. And I think I shared with Kelly a previous story. I'm of the age of that we had big wheels, and big wheels were fun. 2 wheels in the back, the big wheel in the front. You ride around, you skid out, you figure that out, and you're like, okay, what do I do next? At the same age, I started riding a bicycle, and my friends and I were like, okay, well, let's turn the big wheel over and use it as a ramp. So I started out kind of haphazardly in my cycling career of, using a big wheel or another vehicle as to do something fun and dangerous and risky. And, it was that freedom of cycling that we hear many times and the benefits from it, to having family in public service with my father as a police officer, my uncle as a firefighter, a cousin who worked in politics as a congressman. He was one of the good ones. And just seeing how one person can affect many lives. Now, we didn't grow up with many means other than relationships and a need for education and the importance of education. And I went to parochial school, which, with nuns and priests, they really get you structured. Then with some military experience. So fast forward that to many years later, where all those experiences of, public service is public good really forged the opportunity for me to get into this space, especially in San Diego when we see there's a big battle over bike lanes and parking spaces. And anytime I ran an event, one of the biggest problems was where people were going to park. And my issue was, this is a cycling event. Why do you need to worry about parking? A huge headache, right? Great conflict. So group that all together with the, growing up in structure, public service, and seeing how cycling can change lives. It's then looking outside of that sphere where the e-bike can be used as a tool and for a solution versus a very select few that can afford it and afford to ride a bike on their own time. So very fortunate to be able to find that niche with those life experiences that came about.
Love it.
So let's shift gears, Ed, and tell us about your real estate portfolio and how you got into real estate and your journey and where you are at now.
Sure. Oh, it's great. Thank you. It's just something that, again, something else that I'm fond of. I kind of took the lead from my wife early on a few years ago. Her and a college friend did invest in some properties in Wisconsin as rental incomes. And she and I have owned the home that we're recording from for a short period of time, but I really didn't know what a real estate portfolio looked like. While at the same time, looking at the mountains, because we're in eastern San Diego, which is the beach, but right at the foot of the mountains on the eastern side of San Diego. So building on that thought of where to go, how does it sustain the opportunity to go to the mountains, but also provide experiences for others who may want to be in the same space. And that's when I started looking at Park City, and that in particular is, close to my heart, someplace in the long term when my younger daughter graduates from college or maybe sooner. I'd want to be full time. And it was just really taking an intrinsic look at what does that mean? What's my experience going to be there? And how can I share that experience with others? And in between that, the private residential investment that my wife was doing and the purchase of Park City, she had bought a condo at the Westin in Mammoth Lakes. So again, it's, the dynamic is, I don't know if all marriages are like this, but she does her thing. I do my thing. Sometimes we may figure out how to do things together. So, and that's what you
sounds like Dave and I.
Yeah, right. Women lead the way, so we do what you say. But Park City was my initiative, and basically looking at the long-term sustainable, the long-term opportunity, sustainable going forward until that time, and how does that work? And Furnished Finder was a great link to that experience or opportunity.
Awesome. So being in a vacation destination area with your Park City Furnished Finder listing, and knowing that you advertise it midterm and short term, what balance have you found there to kind of accommodate both strategies throughout the year?
Well, definitely, and a place like Park City and many others, it's what's going on at the time, right? During the summer in the mountain areas, there's a lot of regional soccer, lacrosse games, groups coming into the area. So really what's going to be the best value for making the place available to others coming in. Clearly, shoulder seasons is a very unique, specific group. As a cyclist, I try to look at more cyclists, both road and mountain bikers who may want to come in, but hikers and naturists. What do we call the people that like bird watching and that?
Yes.
My mother-in-law, that's what you call them. My mother-in-law. Did you see that bird? I'm like, no, I didn't see the bird.
Right. And then it's the, the winter season really, as we're identifying what is the value for coming into town, having that, short or long-term stay. We've been very fortunate that in the upcoming winter, small families are coming in. Parents, 2 or 3 children. They really want a place that you can put their feet up. You walk out of the home, close the door. You don't have to worry about anything. But then again, you're on the lift. So really identifying the specific groups that are going to get the most value, experience, memories, and that's going to help remind them of why they were there in the first place, and then think about coming back the next time.
That's great. So what types of tips do you have for landlords who might be new to renting their place out or new to the idea of Furnished Finder and monthly rentals? Mm-hmm. What are the first things that pop in your head?
Definitely patience. And patience by way of understanding what the inquiry is about. Somebody's coming to town. You can only read what you read in the, what their description is, but the patience is really identifying what is of value and what is going to be important to them. And then start that conversation of, well, we understand you're looking for X amount of days over, and this, whatever the budget may be and who's coming, but really what is important to you to make this something that you're not wondering, why isn't it like this or why isn't it like that? The patience is really giving the seeker the opportunity to explain themselves, but for the owner to be able to have that information or have that conversation that's very honest. Like you're coming to town, this is what you can expect, this is what we're showing you, and it's your money that you're investing in my property. So whatever you need, we're going to be here for you. That's a rough general description of patience.
And I'll tell y'all through the process of putting in a housing request and knowing that it was, leading into ski season and having a wide range of dates available that Dave and I could travel, it was really special to connect with Ed because he responded to my housing request, and immediately you just felt like it wasn't as much about business as it is about a relationship for him, and just really impacting anyone that you connect with in this hospitality market. And one thing that was we'll let him share. He's got a rather lavished gift basket, so that's pretty cool. Or ways of making you feel special. Mm-hmm. But one thing that you shared with me, Ed, was how landlording is. You don't look at it as a business, but as a relationship. Mm-hmm. So how has that played out in the way that you manage your furnished rental?
Yeah. Great. Yes. And thank you for the accolades. Well, certainly. And then again, it's like when the inquiry comes in is really looking at what is important to that person, and, managing it as, and equally identifying how they can, that experience can be different. So whether it's short-term or long-term stay, the first impression that you get when you come in is welcoming, identifying who you are as far as, a guest. And essentially, what would you do for a guest in your home that you can do in your property? And we were talking about, it's like, well, if you're going to rent from me, what kind of libations do you like? What kind of local flavor can we bring? what type of wine would say when you come in, oh, that's nice, that's a bottle of wine, we're going to enjoy that while we put our feet up and look at the landscape. And that experience and the first impressions go a long way. Previous rentals that we've had have been groups of girls coming in for a period of time because they just want to get away on a girls' trip. So what extras can take place. And it's not the gift basket, but it's like, okay, girls, towels, where the pool is, where the spa is. Any little extra subtle thing makes a big difference. I was at my property a couple weeks ago, and my friend who hadn't been there comes in. He's like, wow, you really went to town on this label maker. And I've labeled everything.
Yes, I have another one. I love label makers too.
I ordered so much extra tape. I'm excited to go back. And you're like, oh, I need to label this or that. But it's like, so how do you put the Murphy bed down? And some places have guest books. Guest books end up getting stuffed into a drawer somewhere else. I want to make it as clear as day that whatever you need is at your disposal. And also what I do is that when bookings come in, I give them my personal direct number, email, send them a list of what to expect and a communication with the building. So again, it's what more can be done so you feel like you're coming into somebody's home and you don't, have to worry about any issues that you're not aware of.
Love it.
That's fantastic. Well, Kelly, I think we should wrap this up with any final questions from you, because I know you and Ed have talked before. Yeah. And you're so familiar with his properties and the area because I think this is a really interesting interview here because you guys, you've gone through the quote real life experience of looking for a property. And Ed's came up and you were intrigued by him. And I think the nod of forming relationships is self-evident here because you did form a relationship even though you didn't end up staying at his property.
Yep, and hopefully in a future year we'll make it happen. And it came down to really, it didn't come down, the properties both were great, and it didn't come down to that as much as it did the airfare. So, we wanted, one thing I was very clear with both of our interested hosts was, hey, I don't want this just to be a retreat for Dave and I. I want it to be an opportunity for us to share with our family, and they, of course, wouldn't come stay the whole time. It would be, come up for a weekend of skiing or things like that. And both Ed and the other host that we're staying with, who will be on part 2 of this little mini series, her name is Rainey, and they both said, oh, that would be great. Like, we would love for you to come and share this with your family. But that's not always the case. So that honesty part is super important that Ed was sharing. Like, both ends should be clear. The traveler and the host should both be clear on the expectations so that you're working together and really just making it a successful experience and relationship. So Ed did that very well. I think I'd like to end with a fun question of, if you had one day in Park City, what would it look like?
Summer or winter? Is this up to me?
This is for you. This is a question for you, so you get to pick.
Okay.
Well, actually, it's a skiing episode, so let's make it winter.
Okay, well, I would still bike up to the Wasatch Crest at 10,000 feet. So,
okay.
But you can't do that in the winter.
Okay.
So getting out of my unit, going downstairs, picking up the skis at the valet, walking up about 200 yards to get onto the lift that takes you to mid-mountain, spending the day at mid-mountain and above, just casual, easy, fun runs, doing some long runs, maybe down over to Mayflower, the other side of Park City, and then having the turkey chili on the mountain, one of my winter all-time favorites. Coming back down to the lodge and getting into the spa, either paper or plastic cups with a little bit of local High West whiskey, and maybe sitting in the common area and just relaxing the rest of the evening where the gas fire pit is, and thinking about mountain biking when it's not snowing. and
I love it.
Yeah, and close to us, just there's some great sushi places at Kimball Junction, which is right at that intersection of the highway, a couple miles away, or just probably ending the night with a hot chocolate. So that would be a perfect day in Park City.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to be with us, Ed. We really appreciate it. Reminder, if you like certain episodes, if you like certain questions we ask, if you want to know more about any specific topic, we're here for you guys. Just like Ed's saying, this is a relationship. So make sure and subscribe or comment on YouTube if you want us to talk about anything specific. Have a good day, everybody. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Bye.